see, it's got your name in it. See, it's you, and not me.
They can hear you.
Frank, can you hear me?
Who is that? Yes, I do hear you.
Okay.
Alderman Thomas.
Why does it have your? Why does you have your picture there?
I don't.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, get up. Get up.
Frank, you see me?
Who is that? Huh?
This is Elise. You see me?
Elise, yes.
Okay.
Are we all on?
I gotta get on this call. I can't talk.
Let me know when we're ready.
You can start, man.
Okay then. All right, we'll call the meeting to order with roll call, please.
Okay. Alderwoman West,
Present.
Alderwoman Tapman,
Yeah.
Alderwoman Reed,
Present.
Alderman Weezy,
Present.
Alderman Thomas,
Present.
Alderman Christian,
I am here.
Alderwoman Dales,
Present.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott,
Present.
and then we have Treasurer Howard, Attorney Dorothy White Coleman, Police Chief Miller, myself, and Kathy Broussard.
Here.
Okay. All right. Approval of the agenda.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda for today's board meeting, for the regular board meeting, August the 21st, Thursday, 7:30.
Is that a second?
Alderman Thomas.
All right, it's been
Second.
moved and properly second. If there are no discussions,
Yes, there's a discussion. We mentioned amending the agenda to include the collector and the treasurer doing their own reports. And as noted with the attorney on the call, I did indicate and suggest that Fran or Elise or whoever contact us, city attorney, for the proper posting or reposting of the bill concerning the salary. And it is, the failed bill is still on the agenda, so it will not be able to be introduced unless 3 individuals who failed it introduces it. So it can either be left on there and 3 of the individuals who failed it can reintroduce it. Otherwise, it needed to be a new bill. And I suggested, because it doesn't matter to me either way, but I did suggest that someone reach out to the attorney so it can be properly done. But a failed bill cannot be reintroduced, but a new bill can be introduced at any time. So, so it's suggested that there be an amendment to the agenda to include those 2 reports. And if that item is left on there, it cannot be introduced by anyone that passed it.
And this is Alderwoman West. I'm sorry, I was trying to get in, but I had my phone muted. Based on an email stating the mayor removed the treasurer and collector's report from the agenda due to the coronavirus and the meetings being held via Zoom, I move to amend the agenda by removing the meetings open to the public and replacing those with reports from the collector and the treasurer.
Okay, Marion, I would also like to indicate that the bill can be presented. Even any bill that fails can be presented again under new business, because it is not old business. It did not fail. And we actually did that when they were amending your salary before you were elected. And it came back twice under John Jordan, the same way that it's coming back under Jim Christian. And those that are opposing that was present at that time.
The bill numbers changed, as indicated. The bill numbers changed. So a new bill number has not been assigned to that bill.
And this is Alderman Christian. I didn't ask for it to be resubmitted, so I don't want to be the person that would introduce it either.
Thank you.
That's fine, but I will reintroduce the bill. And Fran, if you need to assign a different number to it, we'll post it back on the next time that we meet.
So I second the motion for Alderwoman West.
I'm sorry, what was her motion? I don't. Oh, remove public and replace with collector and treasurer. Okay,
Correct.
I got it.
I have a question of clarification. So we're saying we're going to omit the citizens from citizen comments to replace the 2 reports. Why can't they all be on there? I'm not comfortable with removing our citizens from interjecting and being a part of the meeting. Is there a reason why they all can't take place?
I read a preface before I made my motion, which was based on an email.
I understood it, and I'm asking the question. So the ones you posed the question to, Mayor or Fran, Mayor, is there a reason why we can't?
I did not pose a question. Excuse me, Alderwoman Tapman. That was not a question. It was a preface to my motion.
So I have a question, and my question is
Great.
to the mayor, like I stated, or anybody. The question I have still stands. Is there a reason why we can't have the collector's report and the treasurer report, which I agree, along with the citizens? I don't feel comfortable omitting the citizens from any meeting we have. So that's why I was asking. I concurred with you that those 2 reports are important, and equally important is the citizens being able to participate.
Where we are is approving the agenda, and the public comments are after that, the unapproved minutes. Is that what you're referring to?
Are you asking Alderwoman West?
Yes, whoever, yes.
My motion was because you directed.
Your voice is out, West.
I can't hear.
Okay, because you directed the city clerk to change the order of the agenda by removing reports from the treasurer to collect. Then my motion was instead of cap,
Excuse me,
dog is that.
whoever dog is barking, please mute your computer. Amy, yes. Amy, can you press mute? I'll mute her.
Oh, thank you. So my motion was because you indicated that the agenda change was due to the coronavirus and the meetings being held by Zoom. That was the explanation that was given. I moved to amend the agenda by removing the public comments and replacing those with the collector and the treasurer's reports. Because, anyway, that's my motion.
I still don't understand why you're removing the public from the agenda.
Because your reason, am I being heard?
Yes.
We hear you.
Okay. So the reason is because, and I'm assuming that you made this decision based on time constraints, because you said that the order of, you were leaving off the reports from the treasurer and the collector because of the meetings being held via Zoom and because of the coronavirus. So with that in mind, I believe that the reports from the treasurer and the collector should take precedence over public comments.
Madam Clerk, did I ever direct you to leave the city treasurer and the whoever else that she said off the agenda?
Yeah, we reduced the agenda because of, as she said, the time constraint. So yes, that was a direction, reducing the agenda from all the different commission reporting during this time here.
This is Christian. I would like to second Alderwoman West's motion.
Avant-Elliott, second.
Okay, so it's been moved in second. Then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposers, nay.
Hey.
I oppose to the treasurer and the collector being added to the agenda. We all have the documents in front of us. I think it's more important that we hear from the public, the people. We all can read the statement, and we want to at least have consideration for our citizens and not be on the meeting for 3 hours.
Mayor,
Yes.
I understand the motion has passed, but I do have a recommendation that we did not mention. We did have individuals in our previous meeting, and I think that that should be welcome, that they make any comments and concerns in the message board so that it can be duly noted, and maybe during the chat time. So in the event that your report is given and you want to address it, or it just be documented for the city clerk to follow up, then I think that will be a way that we can properly capture public comment and still have the flow of the meeting, since you desire for a modification. So if the constituents would please make any comments in the chat, any questions they would have, then they can be properly addressed and we can continue the meeting on as noted.
So for
Mayor,
clarification, are we
Mayor,
saying that the citizen,
Mayor, if the citizens are not aware of how to do that or cannot do that, they still can make their comment.
No, the motion has passed, Alderwoman Dales. And it's a chat. When you scroll down at the bottom, there's a chat and you can click on the chat and you can leave any comments there.
Well, we may have some citizens who may be on the phone who cannot do that. And we want to be considerate of all of our constituents. At least I would like to be considerate of all of our constituents. It's only fair we work for them.
That is true. That is true.
It may be true, but the motion passed.
I'm not. I'm not trying to change the motion, but it's still true. So, all right. Where do we go from here? The presentation of unapproved minutes. Madam Clerk, what is next on the agenda?
The presentation of unapproved minutes, regular board meeting, May 7th, 2020.
That's what you got to go through the whole thing. I just want to know what's next.
That's what's next.
Right. Presentation of unapproved minutes. I mean, I asked for it and nothing happened, so I didn't know whether they had moved past that or what.
I'll make a motion to approve the unapproved minutes from the last board meeting dated on May the 7th at 7:30.
Christian, second.
Moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay. Approval of invoices over 500.
Mayor,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas, did we approve the unapproved minutes from the special meeting from May the 13th?
Madam Clerk, is that on here?
Yes, that's on it.
Okay, so then we'll be approving those as well.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes, the unapproved minutes from the special meeting from May the 13th.
Christian, second.
It's moved and properly second. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, is nay. Ayes have it. Planning and zoning. Pat Barrett.
Mayor, it's open to the mayor. The next on the agenda was open to the public.
Right. All right. Meeting open to the public.
We just said no.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, that's the motion we just made that it not be included. So now this is off course of the agenda. So
I'm thinking that that's at the very end for the second.
no, it was
That's what
removed.
I thought. I thought it was for at the very second.
Oh, come on, guys.
Removed completely, Alderwoman Dales, because he wanted a modified schedule.
Okay, somebody then, okay, this is Wanda Lane. Tell me how to do this chat thing, because I don't know how to do it.
Okay, down at the bottom, if you use your mouse, you should see the word chat at the bottom with a little cloud.
Okay.
There's two people that has already put a chat.
How do I know that? I can't see. Do I see the two people have already done that?
Well, no, once you click on it, you will see. It was a number 2 there.
I can't, it keeps jumping. Okay, I see the 2 now. But when I click on it, it's where do I start typing? Because all those symbols just start jumping around.
It just said type message here.
Where does it say? I'm clicking on the chat, the box.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying.
One is at the very bottom. When you hit chat, it's at the very bottom.
I see that, and I'm touching it, and when I touch it, the whole screen moves to the left or to the right. It doesn't bring up anything for me to write. So,
Ma'am, is it okay if Wanda makes her,
no,
comment?
I'm not gonna, Alderwoman, no. I appreciate it, but no. I can say the whole thing sucks. How about that? But I would like to make the chat thing. Just show me how to do it.
Alicia seems to be effectively using it. I don't know if you have her contact, but
Why does the screen keep jumping? Literally, from left to right. Literally.
We probably need to move on and say for the other people. So Wanda, I mean, you can text me or you can text Alicia.
I got it now.
You can do it, Mayor.
All right, thanks.
Well, okay, okay. Now I'm gone completely. Okay, I'll make a comment another way. I'm sorry. Please excuse me, Mayor. This just isn't working for me.
Miss Wanda, if you would like to text me your comment, I can read it to the public.
Okay. Okay. I will.
All right. Are we going to do the public comments now?
No.
Is that what I'm hearing?
I could have said what I wanted to say by now, but whatever.
I think
this is the Treasurer Howard. Based on what was previously communicated, I was under the impression that this session will be filled in by the Treasurer or the Collector's report.
okay. All right, then apparently that's it. So let us go ahead and do that now.
Yeah. So I can communicate the Treasurer's report at this time.
Would you do it, please?
Yes. So I provided everyone with I provided the document stating as of April that there's a total of $3.9 million of cash still in the local investment banks, still being managed by myself, the mayor, and the city clerk. Currently, we have $1.1 million in cash in the general fund. But overall, I wanted to highlight the fact that April was the first full month where we would see the stay-at-home orders from Governor Parsons and the whole impact of the coronavirus on the community from a stay-at-home perspective and impact on sales. So with this being the first full month, financial reports showed that sales tax revenue dropped 15% from March to April. In addition to that, total revenue dropped by 20% from March to April. Overall, for the fiscal year, year to date, the revenue is 15% above the budget due to some unbudgeted items that were communicated in prior months. So from that standpoint, the overall impact of the loss in sales tax hasn't been as impactful to our community from a fiscal year perspective, but it has from a month-to-month perspective. As I communicated in budgets and other conversations, we can only expect that there continue to be a 20% reduction from not month over month, but as an overall reduction in the next fiscal year. In addition to that, as far as expenses are concerned for the month of April as compared to the month of March, the impact of COVID also resulted in a reduction of expenses by 18% from March to April. Specifically, rec center expenses and revenues are down 100%, as can be expected because there's no activity there. And there's an operating loss of roughly $5,000 for the month of April. That closes majority of the financial aspect of things, but I did want to mention, this is on the basis of conversations myself and the mayor has had in regards to finances and considering where we are with COVID-19 that, you know, overall, as we prepare to finalize the budget for the next fiscal year, it's important that we acknowledge that these are challenging and unpredictable times, and at this crisis moment, and as this crisis continues to bring a high degree of uncertainty for everyone, I wanted to reiterate to the public that are present that our focus is continued to be, from a financial perspective, for everyone to be safe, to be healthy, and above all things, to be fiscally responsible and to properly manage the resources of the city right now and going forward in the future fiscal year. I personally believe that we will get through this crisis and achieve our long-term goals of growth and opportunity for the city. But it's important that that we recognize that these are new and challenging times for everyone, and that from a financial standpoint, as we enter the other side of this economy opening back up, I want to recommend that we all take a consideration to the fact that this isn't business as usual from the standpoint of events, from the standpoint of community outreach and expenditures from an overall fiscal responsibility standpoint. But our goal, myself and the mayor has discussed, is to maintain a responsibility to be good stewards of the resources that the citizens have entrusted in us. And that will be the end of my treasury report.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Hello, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Mayor, this is Teresa Reed. I had a question. Treasurer Howard, I'm assuming when you say we're still above 15%, overall budget, that will probably be due to that 420 credit that we got for the park, and then the rebate check we got for the boiler. So that was about 430-some thousand.
That's correct.
Okay, so those are really true outliers. So even though we are looking at that the sales, we should be looking at it from the month-to-month standpoint, because those two items are items that we will not get in the future.
Right. So that's the point of first acknowledging that those outliers exist, just from a whole fiscal year reporting standpoint, but two, to understand that going forward, there's no expectation for those things to be present. And the 20% reduction, which we saw from March to April, may be a consistent theme in the months to come, and especially in the next fiscal year.
And I have one more comment. I was on the North County Mayor's luncheon call this week and heard that some of the other North County mayors have actually had their employees go to work 24 hours a week. And the other 16, they were actually laid off for, so they were able to get unemployment and get the extra $600 that is out there now. I guess between Treasurer Howard and the mayor, I guess it would probably be more of a mayor's call too. Why was that not something that we considered in doing to save, more revenue, to save the expenses for the months where the dollars were out there for our employees, and also because of probably the lack of work? Mayor, I guess that's more a question for you.
Well, we laid off all of the part-time and some, I think maybe one or two full-time employees at the rec center. And the guy who picked up the paper and stuff on the streets in the neighborhoods, he was laid off. So that was about it. Nobody was laid off from streets or anything because we needed those people.
Okay, you said the guy that picks up paper. Are you talking about our part-time building inspector?
What is his name?
Kelsey Holmes.
Kelsey Holmes. Yeah, he was laid off.
Okay, that's interesting because he should be inspecting a city and being a code enforcer versus picking up paper. But okay, I thank you for your answer.
He does pick up, I mean, he does do inspections, Alderwoman Reed, but that's something that he also do is go around and pick up the trash and stuff. But he does inspect the city.
Anyone else?
Is there a complete list of those individuals that can be forwarded to the board? Because this was the first that I've heard of that, because when we first entered the pandemic, it was indicated that people would report as normal and no discussion of any layoffs or anything had taken place at the time, that they would just work as normal. And if they had to use their personal time to take off, they had to do that. So at what date were they laid off? What was the layoff time period?
Okay, as far as the rec center, that would be a question for Amy. As far as Kelsey, that was done the beginning of May until now.
You said from May to now? From
the beginning of May, and he's still on furlough.
Okay, so these individuals are going to be potentially reinstated? Is that
I
how?
know Kelsey he's on furlough, so yes, that means that when we open back up, he will come back. I don't know about the workings of the rec center. That's a question for Amy. She's on the call now.
Okay. I can save my questions during the mayor's report, but I know that's financially related, so that's why I was inquiring about it. So I can just wait till the mayor's report, and if Amy is given permission to add on, then that can be addressed at that time, so we can move forward.
Well, this is Alderwoman West. I have a question. So is the bus driver for Bellefontaine Neighbors a part-time employee?
Yes.
So he's not supposed to be working, is that correct?
He works when they call him in.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Hey, this is Amy Mulholland. Do you want me to talk now or later?
Yeah, you can talk now.
Okay. First of all, about the bus driver, we have been trying to keep the bus operating, just so that the people can still operate. Most of them are dialysis people. As for the other part-time people, the pool people have not worked. The office people have been working sporadically because we have been using them to try and keep the recreation center up and clean. It's going to look beautiful.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, a question for Amy. Do we have an executive order to reopen yet with social distancing parameters? I don't know if I just heard you say that. It was kind of muffled, but that was a question of the constituent.
No, it cannot be open yet. The only exception is for voting on June 2nd.
Okay, June 2nd. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I had a follow-up. Amy, or Mayor, I'm not sure. I know there was a call yesterday with our county executive, Sam Page, and I thought he was going to give direction to everybody on how the rec centers were supposed to operate, move forward. Did that occur on yesterday?
No, it did not occur. We are hoping for guidance tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, if I can interject, this is Alderwoman Tapman. There was a meeting with Mayor Lyda Cruson and Sam, Executive County, Sam Page, and you all get more information on the meeting tomorrow, Amy, that they're leaving the final decision up to the mayors and their councils as to whether or not rec centers are opening. I know Florissant is not going to open up for the rest of the year. I think because of the social distancing and looking at the potential of spreading the virus, which they're trying to mitigate the curve, which we're not doing a good job on it yet. That's why we're setting up multiple testing centers. So again, with them meeting with the clergy today, that they're leaving that decision up to the mayors and their councils. If those the municipalities that decide to open up, they do have a criteria by which you can operate. So just wanted to interject that information.
Thank you, because we have been trying to get some kind of guidance from St. Louis County.
Anyone else?
For
You're
clarification, just for clarification, that June the 2nd date was for what, Amy?
Election.
Oh, it was just for that it would just be open for the election
Yes,
time. Okay,
just for elections. It will not be open for anything else.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's move on. Pat Barrett, Planning and Zoning.
Will be the collector's report, Mayor.
Okay, collector's report. It's not on my agenda. Collector's report.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to go over the collector's report for April. I'm going to go over the categories and then give you the grand total and then the year-to-date subtotal. Capital improvement tax, $55,110. Cigarette tax, $3,010. Utility tax, there's several categories, and the grand total of that is $27,523. Road and bridge fund, $1,667. Sales tax, $111,887. County public safety sales tax, $44,456, and that's a grand total of $333,533. And the year-to-date total is $4,893,784. That's it.
Okay, any questions?
Hey, Kathy. Hi, this is Teresa Reed again.
Hi, Teresa.
Yeah, we were looking at the, I was looking at the budget when we had a meeting, and we saw that there was some interest due to the city of Bellefontaine from Green Acres. And I know Jim, Alderman Christian, you know, he mentioned that there was an agreement done and some residents paid it all up front and some paid it over some years' time. Is there any, can you research that and find out if there's any paperwork you have maybe left over from the collector concerning this? Like, is there still some outlying things due to Bellefontaine, you know, the city of Bellefontaine from the Green Acres residents that need to be collected on? You know, I'm assuming that's something that will fall under your umbrella as collector.
Okay, I'll check with Lori and see. What I received, I didn't have anything in regard to Green Acres. When you say the interest due, I don't have anything. I will check with Lori and check the records to see if there's anything in the past to see, you know, if there's going to be what we have on record. So right now, I haven't come across anything in my records currently, but I will check with Lori and see what she comes up with.
And I do believe that, I mean, maybe city clerk can help you with that, but I do believe that Dr. Trano is available for, you know, for questions or whatever. I don't believe he was not, he just retired and, you know, So even if you had to reach out to him, I would assume we have some contact information, you know, in the city, that maybe he can clear up some of that. And if, you know, something is still due to the city.
Okay, and can you spell that last name?
Trano, Tranel.
Okay,
It was Mark was is his first name. I'm so sorry.
okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, thank you for your report. Planning and zoning.
Good evening, everybody. Fran, thank you for sending out my 2 documents as part of the packet. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to at least look at that briefly. Planning and zoning has got a couple of different sets of recommendations that we want to present. The first one had to do with a series of fees that were going to be updated in the March 19th board meeting. But there's 5 of those fees do relate to planning and zoning. And there's a technicality in the city code to where P&Z needs to review those, make recommendations. Public hearing is held along with a 15-day notice. If you've got that document handy, basically the fees that we're talking about here are commercial conditional use permits, residential conditional use permits, zoning amendments, occupancy permits for residential, and occupancy permits for commercial properties. If you've got that there, currently the conditional use permit for a commercial application is $350 currently. We are recommending raising that to $400, and that's based in part on the Consumer Price Index. The last time these fees were raised was 8 years ago. And according to the government, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we've had 12% inflation during that time. We rounded it up to an even number, 400. For residential or a daycare conditional use permit, currently that's $150. We are recommending $175 being the new fee. For a zoning amendment, currently that is $200. There's a little bit more involved with that, so we recommended $250 as the new fee for a zoning amendment. For a residential occupancy permit, currently it's $30. We're recommending that be raised to $40. For commercial occupancy, that's $100 currently, raising that up to $125. During the course of this conversation, this is from our meeting from a week ago Monday, there were a couple of suggestions that we might put forth here, and P&Z has no authority for these. These are just suggestions. Since it had been 8 years since our last time the fees have been updated, we're suggesting that we revisit this every 4 years, starting in 2025, so that maybe we're a little bit more real time with this. The reason for an odd numbered year is to avoid election years. The other suggestion we have is on page 4 of that board bill 2569. There are incremental fees for each additional 1,000 for new construction, additions, that sort of thing. Right now, they are proposed at $7.50 per thousand, additional 1,000. To simplify collection in the building department and to reflect inflation, we are suggesting that those might be raised to $5 per additional $1,000. Did anybody have any questions on those?
No questions? Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Mayor, just a quick question. So the next phase is the public, what is it? I can't even think of it right now.
Public notice.
Public hearing.
The public hearing is next.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Yes, there would be, and there would be a 15-day notification period.
all right, okay.
Also, too, if we move on to the second set of recommendations, and really this is a continuation of business, P&Z business back in March when we first started talking about this. It's a little bit lengthy. I'll try to put this more in a nutshell, but basically we're seeing some commercial establishments having lights, what I call adornments, signs, etc., which reflect poorly on the city. And in almost all cases, the city code does not cover these new types of decorations that maybe did not exist at the time the ordinance was written. And what we are recommending is actually covering 3 different sections of the code. One is only section 29, zoning. That's what we're involved in. The other are outside of zoning. But if you've got that available, we're asking that we add on to 2990C, which is sign regulations, that no signs would be air-powered or mechanized and moved in any way to bring attention to themselves as a result of a recent experience that way. And then we also establish size limitations on scrolling marquees. Technicality, but we thought we should put it in there. On 2990, which is more general, what we're asking for a couple more clauses, if I could call it that, on that regulation. And that's to talk about reasonable security lighting or motion detecting systems, that those would be allowed, that they would not be affected by these changes, but they would be tested and adjusted to avoid nuisance tripping. This also allows for public information displays, when we have 3 of them in the city right now. One's the city of Bellefontaine, that's in front of Bissell Hill Shopping Center. We've got one on Bob Russell Park, that's a nonprofit sports facility, and at 1000 St. Cyr Road, they're currently operating one, whose sign is smaller than our limitations here, so it's fine. Moving along to section 1948, and that's currently titled excessive illumination. We wanted to add some conditions to that and change the title to kind of more broadly cover what we're intending here, and that is to change it to excessive, unconventional, or unorthodox lighting. As you can see, the first bullet point there is no light shall be attached to a sign, building, canopy, or any outdoor structure that flash, pulsate, change color, or otherwise attract unwanted attention from drivers, residents, passers-by. We do stipulate that non-flashing, non-projecting, solid color lights would be allowed, holiday lights basically, for 6 contiguous weeks per year. We also have another stipulation here that any unconventional accent lighting, adornment of buildings, canopies, or outdoor structures would require that the owner apply for and obtain a conditional use permit. This unconventional adornment would include continuous promotional pennant flags. I call them used car flags, used car lot flags. There's island, blade, and sail pole flags. And those would be limited to no longer than what is in section 2992, which is temporary signs. I believe that's 2 weeks, a period twice a year or something like that. They would be allowed, but they would be covered under that temporary sign limitation. And finally, the last section, we're asking for an amendment. Oh, let me back down on here. I will go into the amendment. Displays of bottles, etc., in show windows prohibited. Some or all of you are familiar with a couple of gas stations we have in the city, and they have very large pictures of cans of beer, liquor bottles, and the like, proudly displayed for all to see. We think this is really sad. We would like to see them not do that sort of thing. They certainly have the license to do business, and they're more than welcome to have whatever displays they want inside their facility. And that's this recommendation. Because two of them, of these recommendations, are Section 29. Those would also require a public hearing, a 15-day notice, and perhaps those could be heard contiguously at the same meeting as a hearing as the previous ones having to do with updating of fees. Would anyone have any questions about that set of recommendations?
This is Alderwoman Tapman. I just want to say thank you, Chairman, and for the work that you and the Planning and Zoning are doing to continue to assist the citizens to make sure that we are projecting the type of community that we want, and also looking at safety aspects along with those aesthetics. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. One thing I should add too, and the establishments who are doing this now, because this is presently not law, would be grandfathered. It's called non-conforming use until either they sell the business or they let their business licenses lapse. This is something that does happen from time to time, but my point being is that we won't see an immediate change, but it will be a change over time as a result of these amendments.
Alderwoman,
go ahead.
This is Alderwoman West. Alderman Weesey, I'm sorry. Does law say they have to be grandfathered in?
Well, it was something that the city attorney and I did discuss as a kind of preparation for this. If I could ask you to comment a bit on that, Attorney White-Coleman.
Yes, thank you, Pat. I'd be happy to. Essentially, the law permits someone who operated under the legal requirements at the time it was established to continue to do so after those requirements have changed. And the reason for that is it's considered essentially a taking of property if you give someone the right to do something and then turn around and say you can no longer do that. So down the road, as Pat said, if that business should be sold or the license lapses, then those requirements can be imposed on them. But at this time, they are considered to have, under the law, what's termed as a non-conforming use.
So this is Alderwoman West again. So I'm trying to get around the law, I guess. Because I have a little bit of a relationship with the one on Chambers and Bellefontaine. If I were to approach them personally as an alderperson, would that be illegal to ask them to conform to what we want?
No. If they're voluntarily If they're willing to do it voluntarily, no, there's nothing illegal about that. You just can't force them to do it at this point.
Okay.
But certainly, if you can talk to them and get them to comply, that would be perfect.
Okay, thank you. So my question is, Mr. Weesey, is that one of the establishments you're referring to?
I think you're trying to, are you trying to ask Pat a question?
I thought you were the one who were talking. I'm sorry.
Pat's still
But
there.
whoever, that one of the establishments that's being referred to with the lights and the liquor being displayed in the windows.
Yes, now this is Pat, Barbara. The liquor displayed in the windows, the bottle showing in the windows is currently in violation, and they have been warned to not do that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
This is Alderwoman Avant-Elliott. I have a clarifying question. So with the grandfathering, we're referencing any changes that you're wanting to recommend around the aesthetics and lights and all of that. How is that different from the fee structure? Would they be grandfathered in to only pay what they used to pay? How does it change for that and not for the other? Just for clarification.
Well, these are two separate sets of recommendations. The fee structure would be one set. Again, that's to cover what we were not able to do back on March 19th. This second set of recommendations would not have any fees associated with it, other than if somebody needed, because of the conditional use permit for the unconventional adornment, there would be no fees associated with this second set of recommendations.
I think I'm just confused to how something can be imposed on one end that's a change to what they're used to doing versus this particular change being grandfathered. You know, I think it's a question for the attorney. Like, if we change something, why would it be grandfather for one situation, but maybe not grandfather for the other?
It's not the same thing for fees. You're entitled to raise your fees for services from time to time, as long as you do it in accordance with your code. That's the reason we're having to have this public hearing, since these recommendations have now been made to the board. But you're entitled to raise your fees. There's the difference between raising your fees and changing the law from what was required 10 years ago to what's being required now.
Okay, for clarification then, just even for me, on our current ordinances, we have section 2995, I believe, that states something about grotesque or unusual lighting already. So if we have that piece already there, is there just a matter of changing the verbiage? Because grotesque can mean a whole lot of things. I'm posing this to Pat, and I guess the attorney can help. Also, Pat, did the owner at the Conco gas station ever reply to you guys? Because I understand you guys sent a letter out and asked him to come before the board. Did they ever reply?
Well, let's start with the first part of the question, 2995, and I'm going from memory here, so forgive me if I'm very incorrect, but
I am too, so.
we do have an ordinance concerning lighting on signs and flashing and that changing of lights, pulsating. Lighting on signs is currently regulated in that regard. But
yeah,
what we have here are lights primarily around window frames, and we have 3 establishments in the city that have these exact type of lights. We've got the
Right.
Metro PCS, who has at least altered their behavior that way to where they are a single color. They're not moving, they're not flashing, they're static, which is helpful. Oh, we've got the one that's Bellefontaine or Shepley, who's not doing that. And more recently, St. Louis Fish and Chicken has the same style of lights, and they have not altered their behavior either.
So then the question is, they have not become complicit even answering the letter that was sent out asking them to appear before this board. So they're non-communicative as well.
For the gas station, I believe that's correct. Now, I'm trying to piece this together, but I think part of that, and I'm not making excuses for them, but part of that is that I think when they were supposed to appear before the board is when the quarantine set in and in-person meetings were canceled. Perhaps they weren't going to come anyway, but I guess that provides them a little cover.
And we have a number for them to dial in. So I'm just concerned, like you said, we already have 3 that are non-compliant, and I'm concerned about the grandfathered in idea too. I think I understood what you're saying, Attorney White Coleman. You're saying fees are applicable under the law, but when it comes to structure changes per se, those get grandfathered in.
Yes, it's really called a non-conforming use.
A non-conforming, okay.
Right. That's really what it's called.
And there's no way to get around that, huh?
Attorney, can I ask a question?
Sure.
This is Michael Weezy. So I'm wondering if we know who these 3 are. We all know who they are because they're obnoxious. Can Fran or somebody in the office flag when those business licenses are due for expiration? And if they're late, there's our chance.
Well, sure.
I mean, I don't mean to be dastardly, but I mean, they really are obnoxious.
Great.
A lot of people call about those.
Well, if they let their license lapse, then that's an issue they created. So certainly at that point in time, you can take.
And I don't know how you could do that, but at least then we're taking some proactive stance on it.
And the idea of asking them to voluntarily comply, that's not a bad idea either. If you have a relationship with the owners of any of those premises, that would actually be a win-win situation.
This is Alderwoman Reed. Just to piggyback on what the attorney said, I don't know if everybody was here before, but before the old administration, we had issues with that Conoco right at Shepley. And he had like a place where you dump your clothes. I shouldn't say dump, but you know, where you put the clothes at. And after a while, the clothes would be outside the little mailbox thing, and it started to just be kind of ugly. You know, it looks bad. And it was sitting at the very edge of the parking lot right on Bellefontaine, very near to the resident that didn't like it right there. And he actually just went and talked to the owner, and they moved it. So it's not there anymore. So sometimes, you know, I know the mayor at his level, or maybe an alderperson, if they know them, can talk to the owners, and sometimes they do comply. I mean, so that has happened before.
I believe the old mayor did talk to Metro PCS in that way, and they did tone down their display, their lights.
It's a nice first step, you know, versus just send them a letter.
I agree.
Wouldn't hurt.
Pat,
Yes, sir.
so when you're finished, tell me, and I'll make a motion for the June 2nd meeting or hearing,
June 18th, Mike.
June 18th. But whenever
June
you're ready,
2nd 's
Pat, if you're finished.
Not enough 15, you gotta have 15 days. It's not enough time. You know, June 2nd is not enough time.
Oh, okay. If you're finished, Pat, I'll make a motion to have a public hearing on June 18th.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second. I second. Alderwoman Chapman.
Is the mayor still here?
I'm here.
Okay. All right.
Are there any other questions to the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposers, nay.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, I have a question. Who seconded that motion?
Alderwoman Chapman.
Okay, thank you.
And also, would the attorney have the bill updated with the new changes by that meeting? Sorry.
By the 18th,
Yeah.
the date of the public hearing?
Uh-huh.
Sure, that's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question now. The public hearing is going to be scheduled for June 18th. So it needs to go in the paper so that we can advertise it. So attorney, are you going to get that wording together? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We can get it to you next week, Fran.
Okay, thank you. Just so that we can get it in there, so it can have this 15 days and okay.
We will do so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pat, is that it for you?
The only other thing is we've got sections 29 in the one recommendation. It's all section 29, and we have two sections 29 on the second set of recommendations. Hopefully all of those can be, all five, I guess, be heard June 18th.
So do we have to make a motion then? Because you also did ask, I'm sorry, this is Alderwoman Chapman. Pat, you did also ask that all of those issues be addressed congruently at the same town hall. Do we need to make a motion for that? Attorney?
Attorney.
Or does the motion cover all of them? Because he asked that both sections be brought up in the same town hall. I was just trying to clarify if we needed to make a second motion that all of the presented items be presented to the public congruently on June 18th. Did we need to make a motion as such?
For clarity, I think it might be better if you did it for each one.
Okay.
All right, so we need a motion now for this second request.
Well, I'll make a motion. Mayor Pearson, that the second half of the planning and zoning report that covers sections 1918 amendments to section 19-48 excessive illumination also be added to the public hearing on June 18th.
Is there a second?
I second it. This is Alderwoman Elise Dales.
There's been moved and properly second. Are there any discussion?
Point of clarification. I am assuming that your motion includes accepting the recommendations, all of the recommendations of the Zoning and Planning Commission as well.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I have.
Should I go ahead and restate,
Please.
Attorney?
Yes, I believe that would be helpful.
Okay, so then clarification again. Michael gave the first a motion to cover a portion, should he then just go ahead and make the motion and make it all inclusive? Or should we do two separate motions?
Right, to make it.
Michael, I acquiesce to you, Michael.
Okay, I would like to add to my motion to.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Michael.
Oh,
Say
sorry.
the whole motion so I can record what I need to write.
Okay, I would like to make a motion for a June 18th public hearing for the Planning and Zoning Commission to express their recommendations on ordinance clarifications. How's that sound?
I'm good, I got it. Oh, that's it?
And then,
Another
and then
point of
Fran, you can put the sections that it'll cover for clarification, make sure what sections are being presented.
Okay, what sections are being presented?
Just so we are clear, the board is adopting the recommendations of the Zoning and Planning Commission. And then there will be a hearing on these recommendations that have been adopted by the board.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
now I need clarification. I need to know exactly what this motion is. Everybody keeps saying everything, so I need to know what the motion is. If one person can just tell me what the motion is.
This is Alderwoman West. Would it be in order for his motion? Attorney.
Where's your mic has went out?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking the attorney if it would be in order for him to amend his motion, because he's now added like 2 more things to it.
He could either amend the motion or withdraw it, and whoever seconded withdraw their second, and then it can be restated.
Okay, thank you so much.
That would probably be the cleanest way to do it.
So is there a withdrawal?
Duly noted.
Okay, I would like to withdraw my original motion.
And I withdraw my second to that motion.
Thank you. Now we can restate the motion.
Bullshit.
Wanda, I'm gonna mute you.
I'm sorry.
You can you can restate the motion now.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to have a public hearing on the board's approval of the recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Committee, and we will entertain and hear 2 sections that evening on June 18th.
I second.
Moved and probably second.
Alderwoman Patman.
Okay. Are there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, is nay.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, ayes have it. Okay. Pat, are you finished?
I'm finished. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for your report. Report of the chief.
Mayor, we supposed to do bills over 500.
I beg your pardon?
Bills over 500, invoices over 500.
Approval of the over 500. I called for that earlier, but go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to approve the bills dated May 20, 2020 for a total of 15 bills, $62,742.26.
Is there a second?
Second, Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
I have a question about the bills.
What's your question?
Okay, on the Kwanzaa receipts, and I'm just referring back to the Black History Celebration, where both events are given $2,000 to start off with, and sometimes we get donations. I submit a report to the financial clerk that all of my purchases, they go through the rec center. And if there's something to be purchased, either the mayor or the clerk or someone with the city credit card would use their credit card to stay in line with everything. So therefore, I don't see any receipts that state that under the $2,000 or the donations covered the $650 and 78 cents. So if the $650.78 is paid, are we going over the $2,000 that was granted by the city? Or is that included? Because there's nothing here stating that. And that's the way that the event is held. If I go over my $2,000, I have donations that are sent to the rec center that are documented. So I would like to know, why are we paying $658 to the Alderwoman West for Kwanzaa, and there are no documents that say that that's coming out the budget, or why it was over, or anything? It just shows receipts and what the amount is. So I would like that to be removed, so the board can see all the receipts to justify that the Alderwoman should get a check for $650.78, bringing the total due to $62,091.48.
Any other questions?
Mayor, this is Alderwoman Reed. I had a question. Do you know what this block heater is? You or Fran, what's a block heater that we?
A block heater.
How much was it, Reed?
$1,238.63.
No, I don't know what that is.
It's for CK Power.
Maybe that would be with the street department. Jeff, are you there?
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you very well.
Okay. That CK Power, we came in, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, and the city's generator had an alarm, so it was an emergency call. They had to come out and replace a part of the circuit board for the city generator.
Oh, okay, some of the generator. Okay. It had just said block heater. I thank you.
This is Alderwoman West.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so I would like to address, I don't know what they were from Alderwoman Dales. I guess that's who was speaking. I would be more than happy for everyone on the board to go through all of my receipts. When I met with Lori on Monday, I provided her with everything: receipts, donations, vendors, everything. As a follow-up, and I don't know if she had time to do so, I asked Fran if she would go over Lori's documentation to make sure that she was correct. So I don't know how you got my receipts, and we get none of yours. However, I would be more than happy for Lori to give you everything. Not only you, the whole board, the mayor, the citizens, anybody who wants to ask.
Oh, no.
So that's my reply to you, Alderwoman.
Any other questions, comments?
Mayor, this is Teresa Reed again. Sorry. I just wanted to note that we had some bank fees, some late fees for the credit card bill. I hope we can do better in paying those credit cards and not paying $75 in late fees moving forward. And actually, the Genuine Parts Company did not have an amount on the bill, so we're paying a lot less than what the invoice actually says. And none of the Don Rush invoices were included.
Well, I can tell you on some of those bills, they're due prior to board meetings. And the board have said that whatever I do, get board approval. And that is why some of those bills have late fees on them, because we're not allowed to pay them without board approval. Even though they're very small, it still costs the city.
Right, but she's able to pay things, that's only for things over 500. And we meet twice a month, if not 3 times a month. So there's more than enough time to pay a credit card bill. A credit card bill is only due once a month. So it could be a process of maybe she's not receiving the invoices in a timely manner. And if you don't receive them, you can call up on US Bank and say, hey, fax me over or email me the bill, because I know it's due this time every month. That's just something to help out where we're paying late fees. There's no need in that.
I don't like to pay late fees either, but that is the problem. Is paying bills before the board has approved them. Any other questions or comments?
Mayor, I believe one of the Youth Commission members had requested or inquiry about a refund. Do you know, Fran, if that was addressed?
That was definitely addressed. Her check has been cut and it should have been put in the mail. As far as the amount, now we did discuss this on one of the other meetings, and I remember letting everyone know that the reason that the check was not honored is because we do get a positive pay statement from the bank every day for the finance clerk to clarify that that's exactly what the check should go out for. When we got the positive pay statement from the bank on that particular check, it was for $20 increased from what Lori wrote the check for, so she denied it.
Okay.
After we got the information from the person, the individual, we started looking and researching to see what happened, and we're still trying to get in touch with the bank for the late fees that has been assessed to that individual's account. Because of the $20 increase, we wrote the check for a certain amount. When the bank reported it, the amount was $20 more. So it was denied, the assessed fee, and we're trying to get in touch with the bank, but because of this COVID, they're not answering. We haven't been able to get in touch with them yet, but we're still working on that. But her check has been cut and mailed to her.
Okay, as of what, last week or?
Yes, yes.
As of last week? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Question, please. This is Alderwoman Tapman. So you said that we wrote the check for a certain amount, and when the bank got it, it was $20 more. How did that happen?
Well, I can't answer you that because I'm not at the bank to see what they said, but that's why we're trying to get in touch with the bank so that we can let them know and find out exactly. But this all started when this pandemic started. So we're having a problem actually reaching out and contacting people and getting an opportunity to talk with them. Daily,
I believe you.
Daily, I mentioned to the finance clerk to find out what's going on with that amount with that $35 fee. But her amount of her check has been written and mailed to her. But we have not paid that $35 because, in my opinion, the bank's supposed to pay that.
Okay. Could you just do a follow-up to make sure that she received it? Could you just do a follow-up, please, just to make sure she received it?
Certainly.
Okay.
Well, I think she probably should be getting that check in the next day or so. That, I believe that check was mailed this week, like Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah. All righty. Let's see. We have a, where are we on the budget?
You had a first and you had a motion and a second, so you're on yays and nays.
All right. All in favor, approving the budget, say aye.
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 Opposers, nay.
Aye.
We're doing over 500. We're not approving the budget there.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
The over 500. There's been a motion and a second to pay bills over 500. All in
I
favor,
have
say aye.
Aye.
Opposers.
Alderwoman West. Sorry,
Is that
Mr.
what-
Mayor.
Did everyone vote?
This is Alderwoman West.
Mhm.
Since Alderwoman Dales has a question about me being reimbursed for personal monies I spent, I would like to, I don't know if the check has been cut or not, but I would like for you to hold off on that until the board can go through the bills or whoever.
Well, there's no need in that, Alderwoman West, because we can see from the financial report that our treasurer Howard gave us, as of date, there was only $471 posted to the Kwanzaa program budget of 2,000, and he can attest to that. He's on the line. And if this is $650 or some change, that's still well below $2,000. So we're okay with that.
I would like to also add.
That may be okay for you, Alderwoman Reed, however, I have not seen it.
I'm sorry,
It's okay that I haven't seen it. I was just questioning it because every time I made a purchase, I went through the city to make a purchase. And that way everything was kept, the receipts and everything was kept through the rec center and through the finance clerk and through the city clerk. So I didn't understand that we don't have the receipts to show that we both have a $2,000 budget. I have not seen anything, or it wasn't presented to the board at the Board of Aldermen meeting, and I normally don't ask for it, but we normally don't get a check written back to us, maybe for, something that we spent for $13 or something under $20 or $50, but for it to be $650.78 and not having documented the packet that we're approving, like we have all the other bills, I think it should be taken out until it's included into the packet, especially since we're refunding a check of $650.78.
All the receipts were sent in the email with the receipts.
I'm sorry.
No, the receipts were, but not the overall budget, Ms. Alderman Christie.
Okay, could I interject here? First of all, the check has already been cut and ready to be sent. If there's any discretion, can we talk about that at a later time?
No, sir. I think this is Alderwoman West. I'm sorry. Alderwoman Dales, as far as I know, does not turn in her receipts to City Hall, which is where they should be turned in to. Every year I turn in everything, and there were items on there, because I spent a lot of my own money, that I did not request reimbursement for, which is all the giveaways that I give, a $50 Aldi card, things that I buy to give picture frames, fans from Africa, all kinds of things I did not request reimbursement for. But if there is a question, I don't ever want my character questioned, because I have never tried to cheat the city or anybody else. If I am going to steal money, I'm going to steal enough to leave this country and go live somewhere else very peacefully. So I would like for you to hold that check, because it has not been mailed, so that it can be scrutinized. I'm fine with that. So please hold that check. Do not send it to me.
All right.
I am not
No.
hard up for money.
I have notated that, Alderwoman West. I just wrote down
so
to
much.
not send that check out
Thank
to you.
so much.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, all in favor of approving the bills over 500, will you say vote yes or no?
Yay.
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 Hey,
Any other yays? Is there anyone who oppose? All right.
Wait a
Motion.
minute, who opposed?
Alderwoman Dales.
Okay.
And Alderwoman West, I oppose as well.
Okay. Motion passes with 2 objections. Okay. The chief's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Just to start with, the community are still battling with gun violence and problem properties within our neighborhoods. I've been trying to keep up with the messages, and I do notice that Wesley is on the line. We, including Alderwoman Tapman, have been working with them on an issue that concerns Marshfield and Ludlow, where there was a couple shootings over there. They have been working with the St. Louis County Housing Authority to make some arrangements to remedy some problems over there. I did notice that there was mention of recommendation of a security camera list for the police department to utilize when there is crimes. That's a great suggestion. We have been thinking about that for a while. But one of the things that we're trying to figure out is what platform to put it out on. It would be good for citizens that could send us video clips and things that, because sometimes we get pictures. Video is great for things that happen in our neighborhood that we can address. It doesn't mean that crime hasn't occurred, but it is helpful for us to have that information. So we will work on that. 10,129 Bellefontaine Road has been an issue past couple weeks, if not the past couple years. That's the house of the man who shot 2 of our police officers in December of 2018. We had boarded up the property and painted those boards to keep it presentable. The owner is still incarcerated, and right now I'm working with the building department to figure out how we can secure that property to keep people out. The police department did arrest 2 people this past week that were squatting in that house, and we need to secure it to keep people out. One of the things I've been promoting are community meetings with the police, neighborhood watch style, if you will. I want people to take advantage of that for 2 reasons. It gives us an opportunity to come out and meet with you. And number 2, it gives you an opportunity to meet the police officer, patrol your streets, answer calls, and give you service. Greg and Pickhorn has recently kind of headed up a neighborhood watch style meeting, in the name of Jesus, with a few of the elected officials and the watch commander that was on that evening. That meeting was very productive. It concerned gun violence in the area, some problem people in that area, and some issues that concern access to the neighborhood from the Bissell Hill Shopping Center. And I will refer conversation about that meeting to Alderman Michael Weed, if you will, when his report comes up to talk about that meeting and what's being proposed and about some of those problems. I had received some phone calls and emails and some text messages about concerns about a social media post that talked about police officers not wearing protective masks out in public. I know that the government and other credible sources are recommending that the public in general wear a mask when they're out home. I'm not saying that the police are any different than the public. However, the difference is that the police have very scarce resources when it comes to personal protection equipment. So we're talking face masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes. So when we get stock to put in our inventory, we only take what we need, which is up to a week to 2 weeks worth of equipment. That's because police departments in the area, fire departments, EMS, paramedics, emergency room personnel require the same equipment as well. So we are trying to spread that across as many entities as we can without overloading on one or the other. So the police officers are governed by a law enforcement safety protocol that is written and issued by the St. Louis County Department of Health. And this protocol is what all police departments have been using across the St. Louis region to comply with when we use personal protection equipment. So when we wear masks, we use it under what we call a selective application, meaning that we wear the mask when we know that there's the potential of infection, or we have identified somebody who has been verified as infected with COVID-19. We do not recycle any of our equipment that we use. We put it in biohazard bags and we dispose of it. That is our instructions. So we do wear it, we do it, but we use it sparingly, so we have enough. I can tell you for sure that we've had to have 3 employees tested since this all began. All 3 came back negative. So we've had no infection within the police department. And one of those 3, since there was a potential exposure, actually had to wear a mask 24/7 for 2 weeks per the instructions given to him by medical personnel. So we do wear them and we do use them, those resources sparingly, because we need to use them over time. We dispose of them at a rate that we would run out quickly if we used them on every call we went to, because we come in contact with so many different types of people that have so many different types of problems and sicknesses. We can't recycle that equipment. So I kind of hope that lastly, on the line, I've been looking at our police budget as it concerns financial hardship over the next 12 to 24 months. I will be sending you an updated document from me that we've been working on to make significant budget reductions to kind of keep in line with those hardships and to maintain the same level of core police service that we have been. So I will be sending that to you soon. Otherwise, I have nothing else.
Mayor, I have a question.
Go right ahead.
Is there something that we need to do as a board to assist with the PPE? Is it an ordering thing? What can we do to make sure that even yourself, the judge, and everyone else have what they need? Because I know that there's a shortage, but I've been seeing some places like Walmart, Sam's have PPE that we may be able to grab. But, you know, is there something that is happening with orders that's kind of slow? Because I know that there's a lot of back orders. You know, we just want to make sure that no one ends up getting sick. So is there something that we need to assist with, or, you know, I'm just curious.
That's a great question. And that's one of the questions that people have been asking is what can be done to increase our stockpile. We will take any donations possible. Most of our inventory comes from the Office of Emergency Management that we keep and maintain. But the biggest point of this is that we don't recycle any of it. So if a couple of police officers get called to a home where there's a potential of infection and they wear the mask, whether it is a N95, KN95 cloth mask, bandana, whatever it may be, it is thrown away after that. and they may go through several masks a day doing that. Whereas a member of the public, most situations can reuse their mask daily, unless they come in contact with the same type of issue. But then again, going back to your question, we're open to donations. If anybody's got inventory that can share with us, that'd be great. We can use all that we need. At the same time, because of the position that the whole nation is in, and specifically speaking of the St. Louis area, because we're all interconnected, we share our resources and we don't hoard them. If we did that, it would put other people at a disadvantage, and in some way or another, it would impact us community here in Bellefontaine.
Chief, this is Alderwoman Tatman. I can give you a couple of places. I know Senator Jamila Nasheed acquired 40,000 masks and other PPE equipment that's being distributed, and also the Urban League. So I'll give you their contact information, because each place we're setting up testing centers will also be giving out masks and gloves. So I'll share that contact information with you.
Great, thank you. And I also want to address one more thing. So everyone is probably familiar with the CARES Act that's been passed on by the federal government, state, county. Everything that we've received from the St. Louis County Office of Emergency Management thus far, we have collected those invoices, but we have not paid any of them. So with all the conversations about the CARES Act paying for that equipment, we are not entitled to any reimbursement at this point because we haven't paid any of them. And most other places have not either.
But we have made application just in case, haven't we?
Correct.
Any other questions?
Chief, yeah, Chief, this is Teresa Reed. I know, well, maybe it's for the mayor though. I know that some of the other North County mayors are getting enough PPE for their officers and fire departments. I didn't jot any of that down, not thinking that we needed it, but I know that information is with Greater North County Chamber of Commerce or whatever. So maybe there's some information that they're already sending you, Mayor, about that, because there's a lot of people just granting this PPE to the police department. But I think it has to be an ask. They're just not delivering it.
I may also make mention that, so first responders are the ones that are most likely going to get infected first, just because of the type of work we do. But also think about the remainder of the city employees that work out in public, like the street department, for example. I know they could probably use equipment themselves. The stuff that the police department receives is for law enforcement only. We track it. So other city employees, please consider them when you're looking for other sources for PPE.
I was on a Zoom call today with some Metro mayors, and they did not share with me about any PPEs that they were getting. So I don't know where you're getting your information from.
It was on a North County Chamber of Commerce, North County Mayor's Luncheon. So maybe I can reach out to Jamie Jenkins and ask her to send that information.
Okay.
I have one more thing to add that I forgot to mention earlier. Another issue that has come up as well is the use of basketball goals, sporting activity, certain times of the day. It's come up during the past couple meetings. I know for sure that Barbara West is looking at revising and proposing an ordinance to kind of manage that problem a little better, because the way that ordinance exists right now does not address the problems that the community is having with basketball goals and sporting activities at certain times of the day. So hopefully we can get a new ordinance passed, kind of resolve some of those issues so we can do some enforcement on it. So I kind of look forward to that as well.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
City Attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. I just have a
Good evening.
report. We followed up on the matters that were raised at the May 7th, 2020 meeting regarding our initial billing statement. And we've had an opportunity to review some of the billing statements from the previous law firm that represented the city. At the outset, I wanted to state that our billing practices are standard billing practices in the industry. However, billing practices vary, and you as the client certainly have the right to request that we conform our practices to what you're accustomed to based on the practices of your prior firm. Thereafter, it's our prerogative to decide whether or not we're willing to accept that or reject it. Well, we are willing to accept that. And we did note in reviewing those statements that there are some things that your previous firm billed for that we don't bill for, and vice versa, as opposed to going through those items and prolonging this meeting. We will simply submit a revised bill and conform our practices to what you are accustomed to. And that basically addresses what I need to address. I don't have anything else to report.
Thank you. Any questions? Comment?
Oh, this is Dr. Avant-Elliott.
Point.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead, Miranda.
Attorney, I don't know if you saw the inquiries about AT&T versus Regis. Is there some type of change that needs to happen? I don't know if that ever got addressed about that the ordinance being written for AT&T versus Regis. I was just wondering.
I saw the email communications between the chief and Alderwoman Reed. And based on what I saw, it doesn't appear as though you need an ordinance. And I think the chief is in the best position to elaborate on that. But it sounds as though those charges are going to be included in your Regis bill. Is the chief still on?
Yes. Yes, he's still there.
Yes, ma'am, I can speak to that quickly. So every year, the city enters into a contract with Regis for services and equipment as needed. And this particular change, moving from the data line from Charter to AT&T with that upgrade, is already under that ordinance and that contract. It's just a change of vendor. So in all actuality, you're not voting on the vendor itself, you're voting on the cost change, which is in that particular line item, which was an extra $44 a month.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Okay, my other question is about the bill that I mentioned earlier. We were told in the past that anything could be reintroduced, but it normally had a new bill. And I don't know if they had inquired of that before it was posted on the agenda, but I did recommend them speaking with you, and it does not have a different bill. And that particular bill had failed. So is there anything you want to add to that, what we were told from the attorneys before?
I thought we addressed it. We didn't address that.
No.
I thought I understood from the earlier discussion, and maybe I'm incorrect on that, but I thought I understood that that was going to be withdrawn because Alderman Christian said he was not
Yes.
introducing it.
Okay.
Right, and then Alderwoman Elise Dale said that she would reintroduce it under a different number at a different meeting.
Okay, so my question was to get clarification on whether or not that was correct, that it needed to have a different bill to get verification of that being the case.
No, you're correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
you are correct on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, just let me say this. I don't think Attorney White Coleman's services are any less than the services that we have had in the past. And I don't think her services should be, the pay should be decreased because it's her. And so I think we need to kind of watch what we do when we make those kinds of statements and suggestions. All right, old business. Memorandum of understanding, Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor. I just want to, even though we voted to have our testing center just for an extra layer of protection and transparency and documentation, I've asked Athena Healthcare to draw up a MOA, which has been looked over by our city attorney and ready for the mayor to sign. The testing date that we've been given is Thursday, June 11th, and the possibility of the 17th if needed. As I stated before, we have set up several testing centers, and because our numbers for the spread of COVID is increasing, we're adding on several more locations, and they're going to be, the events are going to be held simultaneously. So we'll have 2 or 3 churches doing testing on the same days. We're trying to get as many people as possible tested. And what is helping is the relaxation of the criteria from the CDC that anybody can be tested. You don't have to have insurance, and that you don't have to be displaying those symptoms. So I would like to take a moment just to read this MOA for the hearing of, and Fran, I don't know if you had an opportunity to send it out to everyone. Again, I just asked for this extra layer of transparency, even though we approved to be a testing site. It states this memorandum of agreement is made by and between the City of Bellefontaine neighbors, with this office located at 9641 Bellefontaine Road, St. Louis, Missouri, 63137, and Athena Healthcare, a Missouri nonprofit community center organization that serves the region of St. Louis, with this office located at 1717 Biddle Street, St. Louis, Missouri. Beginning on Thursday, June 11, 2020, Athena desires to provide mobile COVID testing services on the parking lot of the city at 9669 Bellefontaine Road, St. Louis, Missouri, 63137. The State of Missouri Community Outreach Mobile Unit will transport Athena Healthcare staff to perform COVID-19 testing from 9 a.m. to noon. The city agrees to support Athena Healthcare in this endeavor and at no rental or other cost to Athena Healthcare, as both organizations strongly desire to promote continued health and wellness throughout the St. Louis region during the COVID-19 pandemic. The city may terminate this MOA without cause by providing 5 calendar days notice to Athena Healthcare in advance and in writing at the above written address to the attention of Dr. Alan O. Friedman, President and CEO. The parties will agree jointly concerning the content and timing of all pertinent written public communications distributed through television, radio, and newspaper media. Each party agrees to release and to forever discharge the other, its directors, officers, employees, agents, attorneys, successors, and assigns from any and all matters, claims, demands, damages, causes of actions, debts, liability, controversies, judgments, and suits of every kind and any nature whatsoever foreseen or unforeseen, known or unknown, which have arisen or may arise as a result of this activity. It is mutually understood and agreed that each party is an independent contractor with respect to the other party, and that the parties are contracting with each other solely for the purpose of carrying out the terms and conditions of this MOA. Nothing in this MOA shall constitute or be considered a waiver of the city's sovereign immunity. This city shall maintain general liability and related insurance coverage on its physical premises. Althena Healthcare shall maintain professional liability and general liability insurance coverage on behalf of its employees and agents, and shall carry workers' compensation insurance on all employees. Althena Healthcare shall name the city as an additional insured and provide acceptable evidence of same to the city prior to commencing its obligation under this MOA. Witnesses, it has a place for the mayor to sign, Mayor Tommy Pearson Sr., City of Bellefontaine, Neighbors, Missouri, and also a line for Alan O. Freeman, Director Management, President of Althena Healthcare, and then there's another line under each for the date. So this will be sent out to each board member to have for your information. Thank you.
Alderwoman Chapman. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking maybe a motion may be necessary since the MOU is now introduced. But I mean, I'm sure the attorney could tell us for sure, because that's different than just asking them to come. We did agree for them to be there, but the MOU wasn't available at the time. So is there a timeline, like from 9 to 12 or from?
Yeah, I read that. It's from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the MOA, I asked that it be an extra layer of protection and, like I said, accountability for the city. Even though we did approve, I just wanted that extra layer. And attorney did look at it, but in the MOA that I read, it did say June 11th from 9 a.m. to 12 o'clock noon.
Okay. So attorney, do we need to do a motion on that so he can sign it as a board approved document, or what's required?
Well, the board did authorize this activity at its last meeting. If you want to proceed and just authorize the mayor to sign the MOA now, you can certainly do that, but it's not necessary.
Okay, okay.
I had a question for Alderwoman Chapman, Mayor. This is Alderwoman Reed.
All right.
I'm sorry?
Hey, Dinah, on the one I have, it says beginning on Thursday, June 11th. Is it beginning or is that the date?
No, it's beginning June 11th. And the reason why we left that open-ended, we have the possibility of doing testing on the 17th as well. And so that's why I said beginning on the 11th. We approved to be a testing site. They had several dates open, but we have other organizations and churches that are filling in those dates. I asked that they leave the 17th open just in case we need that, depending on the traffic that we have on the 11th.
So then we wouldn't need another MOA for that date? That's why I guess the attorney saw that you said beginning on. So that was okay.
Yes, and the attorney did look over this. Attorney White Coleman, you want to answer her. because you did look over this MOA for us to make sure it was proper and applicable.
I think it would authorize you to proceed on other dates as well. As I read this, this means basically that's the date you're beginning.
Yes.
But there will be other dates as well.
Okay, so with there being no end date to this, and also us having to have another layer of insurance, does our insurance, general liability or MIRMA or whatever, does it cover this? Have we made this known to them?
Yes,
are
and
we
it's
covered,
general, just our general.
Or do we need another clause or, a rider on our insurance to cover this?
No, it's general liability insurance. There's no extra riders as stated in the documentation. Just like any other event where the city premises are used by an outside entity, that entity becomes a rider on our insurance and we become a rider on theirs. Attorney White-Coleman, you want to clarify that, please?
Well, that is typically the way it works. I don't think, however, that it would do any harm just to reach out to Murmur and just confirm that everything is in order. There's nothing wrong with taking an extra precaution, unless Fran has already done that.
I have not.
And I know Chief is normally our Murmur rep, but I was just wondering because it's medical. It's not just, it's not just use of a building. It's, with this, everything's kind of funny with the COVID. So just didn't know.
Yeah, and they'll be using the parking lot only. They won't have to access our building at all. But that's a good question. Chief, if you can answer that. If not, because I did add on the extra piece on there because I wanted to make sure that the city was covered and that there was full transparency. Fran, if Chief can't answer, Fran, would you reach out to Murmur tomorrow and make sure they see the MOA as well?
Chief, you just popped back in.
I can address it. So just for clarification, what is the specific question?
They wanted to know if we needed, Alderwoman Reed wanted to know if we needed extra insurance to cover this endeavor since it was a medical agreement between a medical entity and ourselves to use our parking lot.
Let me check with MIRMA. They will either recommend additional insurance coverage or they will recommend a waiver of liability. This is a completely different scenario than, let's say, Family Fest that was held here. The level of risk is not. I will find out. So you're asking for insurance concerning COVID testing site here?
Yes, and if you could let me know tomorrow. We're finalizing all sites because we start setting up, and if that's going to be an issue, because we do have, entities where we're setting up these sites immediately for testing, and they needed the paperwork. So I appreciate that if you could follow up with them on tomorrow for us.
Can you email me a copy of that MOA?
I sure will.
Oh, okay.
This is Alderwoman West. First, I would just like to say thank you, Alderwoman Tapman, for taking on this endeavor. I have already been tested, but I plan to be tested again because I am extremely high risk.
Yes. And just to share more information, and then I'll stop because of time, we have, the chief shared with me and also with the county exec, because they meet with the Clergy Coalition where I'm the chairman of civic engagement. They meet with us regularly because the COVID-19 is spreading at a tremendous rate in our community. And so because of the fear factor, I took on the responsibility of asking those churches and other nonprofit organizations to step up because the community trusts the church. You know, most times, most communities, if they need anything, they're going to go to the church. So some churches already have 3 dates because some of them already got I don't want to say pre-orders, but people who have inquired about coming. And so that's why we start adding on more than just 1 day, because the community is like, wow, you guys are doing testing. And that's why I wanted to keep an extra day for us, just in case the influx of citizens from inside our community as well as the surrounding community. I've already had people from Influence Church and some of the other churches and organizations saying they're coming to get tested at our site on the 11th.
Sorry, I gotta come out here because I'm almost out of battery power.
I'm sorry, are there any other comments?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to know if I can, under old business, I would like to rescind my vote for the minutes for 5/21/20. And I'd like to have that recorded, that I am rescinding my vote for the minutes, unapproved minutes.
Okay, what, attorney, how do I proceed with this?
I'm not sure I'm exactly clear on what we're doing here.
Under old business?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I voted yes for the unapproved minutes on 4/16/20. And for the record, I would like to rescind my vote and make it no. That's it.
Okay. That will still result in those minutes being approved, though.
That's fine. I just want to rescind mine.
Okay, I'm not understanding, Elise. You say for 4/16?
Correct.
When did we vote on 4/16?
On May 7th, the last board meeting.
Oh, you going back to last board meeting?
Yeah. Yeah, I said I'm rescinding my vote.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
I'm not understanding. You said under old business. I'm
correct.
Okay.
Alderwoman Dales, I'm looking at this now, and that presents a problem in that you second the motion. Yeah, you second that motion as well. So that would completely undo that action. Now, if you want to have the clerk note for the record here that although you did second and vote in favor of those minutes, that you want to rescind your vote, I think you can note that for the record, but we can't go back and undo what was done.
That's what I said. I wanted it noted for the record.
Just wanted to note it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I get it. So no for the record that you're
No for the record.
that you're rescinding
Your yes, my yes vote. Correct.
Give me the earphones. I can put the earphones on.
Okay, Warnes, I'm muting you. No for record. Okay. And that was for the 4/16 minutes?
Correct.
Okay. So I don't need to do anything other than put this in for the records, even though she did second the motion.
Yep, I just wanted to know.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll move forward to resolution number 2020-02.
This is Alderwoman West. Am I free to continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. A resolution requesting that municipalities within St. Louis County receive an equitable distribution of the $175 million in funding received by St. Louis County from the Coronavirus and Relief and Economic Security Act to reimburse municipalities for actual public safety costs incurred related to COVID-19.
Christian, second.
Are there any other questions or comments? Then all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Bill number 2573. Alderman Christian.
I didn't ask for it to be reintroduced, so I thought we took it off the agenda.
Okay then. Bill number 2575.
Mayor, Alderwoman Reed.
Yes.
I wanted to read Bill number 2575 to be approved for the first read and move to the second as amended. An ordinance providing and authorizing execution of a contract with AT&T via Regis for fiber connection services to support body cameras for Bellefontaine Neighbors Police Department.
Is there a second?
Christian, second.
Are there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed is nay. All right, bill passes. Bill, beg your pardon?
Second read, second and final read, calling for a roll call vote for bill number 2575 as it was amended, an ordinance approving and authorizing execution of a contract with AT&T via Regis for fiber connection services to support body cameras for Bellefontaine Neighbors Police Department.
Is there a second?
Christian, second.
Are there any further discussions? Roll call vote, please.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott,
Yes.
Alderman Christian,
Yes.
Alderman Weezy,
Yes.
Alderman Tatman, Alderwoman Tatman, I'm sorry, Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed,
Yes.
Alderwoman West.
Yes.
Okay. Let me see, 75-25. The majority of the Board of Aldermen voted and passed Bill number 2575, which will become ordinance number 2570 when and if signed by the mayor. Ordinance number 2570.
All right, bill number 2573.
Mr.
All
Mayor,
right, this is
76.
76, I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, can I make comment on the recent bill?
Yes.
Okay, so that concerned the AT&T fiber connection. There was the rest of that proposal. There were 3 other line items on there. I want to confirm those aren't part of that ordinance, but are those 3 other line items for equipment approved concerning the firewall maintenance, and way and land support?
Okay. Any further comments? All right, that was just a statement, right? Chief?
I'm asking if those the remainder of those costs are approved. They fall outside of the ordinance that the board just discussed. So there's 3 other line items on that proposal that need approval for cost for the firewall maintenance, and the WAN LAN support.
Okay.
I would believe so, Chief. This Alderwoman Reed, because it attaches here to as Exhibit A. That's Exhibit A.
Alderwoman Reed, area.
Yeah, okay. Within that ordinance, it points to the attachment, Exhibit A, and that proposal is the Exhibit A.
Okay,
So, I mean,
just confirming. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So that doesn't require any action, right?
No.
we already passed it, Mayor.
Okay then. Bill number 2576.
This is Alderwoman Avant-Elliott. I will be making an amendment to the title, and I will be reading it in its entirety for the purposes of the public. So I would like to make a motion to amend the title to state an ordinance to establish the compensation schedule for performing the duties of city administrator of the city of Bellefontaine neighbors, establishing an effective date and repealing all inconsistent ordinances, and to move on to the second motion as well.
I thought did you say you was going to read the entire bill?
Yes, I'm gonna read the entire bill. Yes. Whereas prior ordinances enacted by the Board of Aldermen from time to time have established compensation for performing the duties of the city administrator, and whereas the Board of Aldermen has determined that beginning the starting date of the city administrator, the compensation shall be commensurate with the experience, education, and training of a successful candidate. And whereas the Board of Aldermen now wishes to establish a new range of compensation as set forth by Addendum A, which is attached here to and incorporated herein. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Aldermen of the city of Bellefontaine neighbors as follows. Section 1, from and after the effective date of hiring a new city administrator, the compensation for performing the duties of a city administrator shall be within the range of $80,000 per year to a maximum of $100,359.34 per year based upon experience, education, and training as set forth on Addenda A, and such other criteria as the mayor or his designee may establish from time to time. The established salary shall be paid periodically in equal installments in accord with the pay schedule applicable for the city employees. The city administrator shall also be eligible to participate in the city's retirement program with the local government employees retirement system established pursuant to sections 70.600 through 70.755, Missouri Revised Statute 2000 as amended. If otherwise eligible according to law, and deferred compensation and pension programs offered by the city, such as those available under section 457 and 403B of the Internal Revenue Code, if otherwise eligible as provided by law. The office of the city administrator is hereby found, determined, and declared to be an exempt executive or managerial position for purposes of the Fair Labor Standards Act. The person performing the duties of that office shall not be entitled to overtime compensation or compensatory time for work performed in association with the office. Section 2, any and all ordinances of the city of Bellefontaine neighbors that are inconsistent or in conflict with the terms of this ordinance are hereby repealed as of the effective date within after specified. Section 3, it is hereby declared to be the intention of the Board of Aldermen that each and every part, section, and subsection of this ordinance shall be separate and severable from each and every other part, section, and subsection hereof, and that the Board of Aldermen intends to adopt each said section and subsection in the event that any part of this ordinance shall be determined to be or have been unlawful or unconstitutional, the remaining parts, sections, and subsections shall be and remain in full force and effect. This ordinance, section 4, shall be in full force and effect from and after board approval. That is the reading of the entire bill, and for the second reading, I will just be doing by title only.
Is there a second?
Christian, second.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
this is Alderman Weezy. I would like to make a motion to add an amendment to this bill.
Okay.
And here's what I'd like for you all to consider. I would like to propose language that includes the possibility for us to promote somebody from within the city organization. So if we have an employee that goes to night school and learns this, you know, how to manage a city or be a city administrator or whatever the skills are or the degree is, that we might have an employee that's making $60,000 a year, and instead of going and hiring a new FTE, we could give them a raise. They're already getting the benefits, and we could get the same job filled with less headcount and less overhead. And I think if we just put some generic language in there to say we can make a hybrid job description out of this title. Because you never know. I mean, we might have a plumber out there that goes to night school and could do this.
So I have a question, Alderman Weezy. So are you saying you want to table it and add that into it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have to help me. What's the process for adding that language?
So just to give you an example, Alderman, we see how we hire would be up to us, but they will get this salary range. They will get the salary range based on their experience, but how we hire is separate from what I'm establishing. So I'm doing just a salary piece, but if how we want to hire, if it's internal, external, that's normally on the personnel side. And so that process can be discussed. So if we say it's still a city administrator and this is the salary range that that person will be eligible for, that will already be established. But how we hire is then personnel. So if we want to do internal, if we want to change it up, but if there was something that could be amended now, which it doesn't have to be tabled in order to amend it now, the question to the attorney would be, what should that say in order to capture that, and if it's necessary to capture it under the salary schedule part versus maybe amending the job description or some other piece of it. So attorney, is there some advice that you can give related to that?
There's a motion. Is there a second on the floor for this
Yes,
bill?
it's a second, yes.
There is a second?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Alderman Weezy has been recognized and has the floor now. If you want, you can either make a friendly amendment to add that to this bill, but if you would prefer to see it in writing first, then you would have to table it and bring it back.
Well, okay, so what we've done before, if we were adding something that we want to make the amended, then we were able to give the attorney any permission to properly document it within there, because then you can indicate the proper section that should go under.
Right.
If I can interject, if I remember correctly, say for instance, when we were trying to get the proper bills for the speed bumps and everything, I think we brought them back 4 or 5 times because things needed to be changed. I had to table it and then bring it back. We finally got it passed after the 5th try, which was good. It was a learning process for me, but each time someone wanted to add something or admit something, I had to withdraw it and then bring it back. But I still had some questions after we answered Alderman Weezy's questions. I have questions concerning the bill as well.
Mm-hmm. So as far as an introduction to this has been prior months where the salary scale was introduced, and this just complements that salary scale that we discussed at several board meetings. And so at this point, this is a reintroduction so it can be placed on the agenda. And some individuals have had this long enough to add something to it, because it doesn't have to be suggested at this particular point. It could have been suggested before, but that still has to be something that everybody thinks makes sense to be added, as far as a clarification around how to hire and how to make hybrid. This is generally compensation only. That's why even before, when there was a lot of conversation about the rec center job description, the attorney had added that when I did not intend for it to be a part of it. I wanted it separate. And so then the next time it was introduced, it was just the salary, because the details of the process can be different than what the salary is, because you're talking about two different HR processes at that point. So salary
And that,
how you hire is two different things. So there can be a whole nother ordinance that speaks to a hiring process that's separate from this is how they would get paid, you know. So that's the difference between the two.
and thank you, Alderman Elliott. I understand that,
Okay.
but for me, we're talking about a city administrator. I have two issues with it, first of all, but I'm addressing this first issue we're talking about. This is a big change. If we're talking about what Alderman Weezy presented, to make it applicable to if we have someone within our ranks that's already employee that we want to have the ability, because of, number one, this is a good segue to what we're going through now. For a person who we have on board that may be qualified, but we have an ordinance that states that we are allowed to first and interview our employees if we have it in writing that covers us. And that's a big change, because I think that's a good idea that we do that. That way we give people a chance to be promoted from within, and we support them. But to that end, that's a big change. It's not a simple one. But my other question is this, and concern. We are in a season of pandemic. We don't know how long this is going to last. The Treasurer report states that we already have a 15% downfall. That's hard numbers between March and April. Stiefel is projecting across the board a 20 to 30%. I think it's counterintuitive that we try to add anything on the books right now that's pertaining to spending anything, because it's something we can always add down, because we don't know what our future income is going to be. Even with projections, we can't even do projections like we normally do, because that's all a budget is. But we can't even do that because this is times that are not normal. And we don't know the trajectory of our economy. We know it's going to slide down. And I'm concerned about us being counterintuitive and putting something, especially this hefty amount in projection. And then back to the fact, this is for a city administrator. I think we should have a clean document. And yes, we've had it for a while, but like anything else, you have time to think about things, look over things. And this pandemic has changed some things. And with the issue that we have, dealing with some other things we have to look at, what we're trying to accomplish right now during this season that we're in.
Okay, I do.
Can I make a comment, please? This is Alderwoman Elise Dales. I agree with Alderwoman Tapman that we should table this, do more research, and what Michael Weezy added. We've done it before. We have done it all the time. I don't understand why there's such a rush to do that, especially with us being in a pandemic and we do not know what our projections are going to be. I think that we should table it and research it as stated, and there's no rush to this.
Okay, so
I'd like to say something, this Alderman Thomas.
Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to hear what the treasurer has to say concerning us putting this on the books, and then, because we are in a pandemic. I agree with the other two alderpersons that spoke before me. We're in some times that we've never faced before, and we may have to come back and reorganize what we have now. So why are we trying to spend money that we really don't have that we can't foreseeably see for a person that, in my opinion, that we really don't need. And I would like to ask the treasurer if he's still here, what his opinion on putting this in the budget is.
I don't think the treasurer.
Yeah, so I've been trying to speak, Alderman Thomas, I'm not sure if you know the history of that particular position, but it is an established position by ordinance, but the ordinance is incomplete. So this is not a budget discussion. This is assigning a salary to a position that is on the book. So technically,
well, I think that we should table even talking about putting a salary on it due to what we're going through at this time.
So
why are we so worried about a position that doesn't exist right now, that we're going to have to make do with what we have to do now?
Because technically that is a position that should exist because it's city management. So even though it doesn't exist, it's a position that should exist based on it being a part of the ordinance. Right now, we have a rec center director that we approved, and we don't have the person in the position. So we're not expensing for that position until we hire, but it is a completed ordinance on the table as a result of that. So this particular ordinance has been ongoing, and to the point of the individuals who spoke to some type of process and courtesy to talk about it. I just want to remind you all that there were several individuals that made that request when we had the discussion about the attorney, and it was disregarded. So I think that is unfair to suggest something that was not allowed when several individuals wanted to have a dialogue and talk about things before a decision was made, and it was totally disregarded. So I do want to ask the attorney. I do want to ask the attorney if this is if the hiring piece is something separate, or if it's something that should be included. Because if not, if it can be separate, I want to move on with my motion for the salary, because I think that what Alderman Wesley is speaking to is a hiring process, and that's different than salary. But I want to have clarification if something can be added related to internal candidates, because we hire internal candidates right now. That's not an issue. That's what the rec center and all the other positions have been, internal candidates. So issue of internal candidates is not the issue. We're just trying to get a salary attached to a position that we currently have on the books. It's been incomplete for months, for years, from the time that they established it. So this is to complete that process. And if the board, doing budget discussions or hiring practices or whatever, decide they want to hire or not hire, that will be the board vote. These are two separate entities, completely separate entities. For
Just for
clarification.
point of clarification with, because we do have citizens on, I want to be clear too. Because you stated it is a position that we have on the books, but like all the positions, it is not a required one. It's on the books that would be advantageous if we choose to have that position. It's not on the books to say we have to or we must. But back to the point of the two demarcations between a hiring practice and a budget practice, I think that, as it was stated, because of the times we're in and going forward, if we have something that's more precise and direct and saying for the position of the administrator, that we, and I'm just putting the words out there because I'm not a lawyer, I'm just putting it out there, that person, we have the right to hire from within or post inside for employees to have a certain length of time. I think we ought to have all of that in there, because this is a big position. This is a big budget item. And we want to be able to have as much autonomy over that when we have employees, like Alderman Weezy said, that might qualify. But if we don't have anything in writing, we have to then go through our normal process. We have to post it for certain days outside in the public. We have to post it on our website. But if we have something in the ordinance that states that this position can be posted for employees of the city for 10 days, for instance, before it's then posted to the public, I think gives us an opportunity to allow those who may be a part of our group to apply for that. And again, I'm still back to my impetus of, I don't think at this time, because the times we're in, that we should be concentrating on putting something on the books that potentially adding to a budget. And I said potentially, because a budget is, a projection. But it's just, I'll just leave it there. I've said enough.
Okay.
But I still think that
I want to be able to move.
This
I
is
want to be able
Alderwoman
to
Dales.
move on.
This is Alderwoman Dales, and I think it also the citizens have a right to hear from our treasurer his opinion about this salary. Before it can be tabled, he can come back and give his opinion. We can add other things to it. It should not be rushed into, and we should take our time,
And
like we have with everything else.
I appreciate that, but we have inquired of the attorney in board meetings that some individuals may not have attended, but we did inquire about this particular position.
Well, we did not inquire at the Board of Aldermen meetings.
Yes, it was at the Board of Aldermen meeting.
Elliott.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pearson. Mayor Pearson, can we have a point of order so we can go ahead and vote on the motion that's on the floor, please?
It took 3
after
years to
10
get the
o'clock.
city administrator position available.
Orders are always ignored, so I don't know why.
Mayor, can I have
agree.
a point of order? This is Alderwoman Reed. We already have a motion. We already have a second. Can we please do our yays and nays so we can move for the second? It's 10:15 almost.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got work in the morning.
Yes,
Everybody has commented.
Yes, yeah. So, Alderman Weesey, I just want to direct a quick question without any further interjection so we can move on. Alderman Weesey, an attorney.
If there's no more questions, yes.
Attorney White Coleman.
Yes.
Yes. So personnel and salary is separate. Is that something that can be addressed in a separate ordinance that does not disrupt salary schedule, or does it make sense to be embedded in here? Because it's two separate things based on my personnel training. So I'm just trying to clarify, because if it's the board's pleasure, I think that we already have a process of hiring internally. It has to be posted, whether it's internal or external. You still have to post a position. So who you give an opportunity to is still up to the board. So is there a need to add that specific language in there, given that we already have a hiring process that's open to everybody, internally and externally? Or does that have to necessarily be in there in order to move forward with that particular request of Alderman Weesey?
Well, what you're asking is really not a legal question, because it can be done either way. The question is really, as the maker of the motion, it's your motion, and whether or not you accept Alderman Weesey's suggestion as a friendly amendment to your motion. You have to accept it as a friendly amendment because it is your motion.
Right, but I was just getting clarifications on it being tied to salary versus it being, could that be done as a separate ordinance? That's what I'm asking.
It can be done in this one, or it can be done as a separate one, certainly.
Okay, so it can be addressed.
It can be done either way, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so I'm going to move on with this because this one is set and we can, as a board, address any hiring practices from there. So we have a second on the table, Mayor. Is in your hands.
Are there any further discussions? Let me just say that, you know, when I became mayor of this city, shortly thereafter, we had an emergency with the flood. And I, along with the chief, pulled together a team from City Hall and the county and residents, present residents and former residents of the city, joined together, filled sandbags, and built a wall and saved those homes. Now less than a year later, we have a health pandemic that has put over 38 million people in this country out of work.
Yes.
And here we are now. The treasurer has already told you that our budget is projected to be lower. We're not sure how much, but he throwed out 18%, 15%, 21% in various incomes levels. Now we want to break the city by hiring a city manager, all because of your hatred for me.
That's
You
not
have
emotional,
ever
though.
since I'm talking now.
Okay, that's not.
I've allowed you to talk. Now I'm going to talk.
Okay.
And here we are. People are dying all around us. And all you can think about is adding to this budget that will break this city over time because you think that I don't have the capacity to make some decisions for this city. I want you to know that if this city go under, it'll go under because of this vote. One, you know, if it goes the wrong way. And I'm asking you board members to vote this bill down. If we can come back and visit this at another time, I'm not opposed to a city manager.
Mayor, you're out of order.
Yeah.
No, you're out of order. You are out of order.
You are out of order. This is Alderwoman West.
You are out of order.
Completely out of order.
You are out of order.
That shouldn't be an ask.
I'm speaking now. You've spoken for the last 2 hours.
You are out of order because you do not have.
And I'm asking the board to reject this bill.
Yes, he
All
can.
in favor of.
No, he cannot.
Yes, he
Call
can.
the roll. Call the roll.
Mr. Thomas, you ain't been on the board but a hot a minute.
Call the
Have
roll.
you looked up Robert rules?
Okay.
Call the roll.
No, this is a yay and nay vote because this is for the first read. I haven't even got to the
But
second.
then all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no.
No.
Nay.
Then call the roll.
Alderman Christian,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas,
No.
Alderman Weezy,
Yes.
Alderman Reed,
Yes.
Alderman Tapman,
No.
Alderman West,
Yes.
Alderman Dales,
No.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes. I'm moving on to the second read. The second read will be by title only. Ordinance establishing the compensation for performing the duties of city administrator of the city of Bellefontaine Neighbors, Missouri, establishing effective date and repealing all inconsistent ordinances.
Is there a second?
Christian, second.
This will be a roll call vote.
Okay. I'll go again. Alderman Christian,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas,
No.
Alderman Weezy,
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman,
No.
Alderwoman West,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales. Dale?
No.
Okay. Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes.
Okay, so we got 1, 2, 5. We have 5 yes and 3 no.
Motion passes.
And citizens take note.
Yep.
Big pardon? Okay, the mayor's report, I really think this was a bad idea. And I think that it's gonna come back to haunt this city. And when it does, don't blame me. Blame yourselves for what happens in this city from this point on. Not me, you did it. Now, the next thing is paying bills online. Whoever's for that, is paying bills online. That's what's on the agenda.
That's under the mayor's report.
That's on the what?
That's under
on
the
your
mayor's
report.
Well, then do we have approval to pay bills online so that we can get bills paid in a timely fashion?
Mayor, are you referring to bill pay, like using a credit card or doing a ACH or something like that?
Yeah, some bills that we could pay online, all of them we can't, but those that we can, we'd like to pay them online.
Is there any ordinance that suggests that we can't do that already that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of any.
Attorney White Coleman, because I haven't seen a ordinance to be able to vote with confidence on whether or not it's an issue. Attorney White Coleman, are you aware of any ordinance that will restrict online transaction ACHs? Because we don't have our finance person on here, so we don't know if it's an audit issue or anything like that. Are you aware?
I am not sure, but I can certainly look into that.
Okay. Mayor, do you want to wait till she's able to investigate that? Because we don't know if it's an audit issue to be able to do that or not, if there is some type of potential for theft and that's why they didn't allow it. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we can postpone it and look at it some more.
Okay.
Allocations, additional funds for asphalt. Is Jeff still on?
If Mayor,
Yes.
Mayor, if you don't mind, if I can just bring up a point. Alderwoman Reed brought up a question about the credit card bill being late. I think we should look at if we can get our bills paid more proficiently online and on time, that we might want to visit this now instead of putting it off, and that will prevent us from incurring any more late fees. So that's just a statement I wanted to make for us to think about.
Okay. Is Jeff Ross still on the line?
I'm here, Mayor.
Okay. The allocation of additional funds for asphalt. You speak to that, please.
For the budget year 2020, I suggested $20,000. 2/3 of that was taken away for street and asphalt repair to cover 52 miles of streets in the city of Bellefontaine neighbors. With that being said, we were left with $6,000 to work with for this year. We hit that mark approximately a week ago, with the majority of it being spent before fall. So what's left in the next 2 months with the streets needing to be repaired, I'm suggesting or requesting for additional funds to help out with street repairs with the asphalt and concrete. We haven't done any concrete this year at all because we've hit what was given to us for our budget for the streets.
Board, what is your pleasure?
Hi, Jeff.
Jeff,
This is
Alderwoman
Alderwoman Reed. I wondered, do you have a budget that you're saying you would need for 2 months? I mean, seeing that it's May 21st, next week's a holiday. So what are you projecting that you're going to spend actually in 1 month? Because the budget hopefully will be approved by July 1.
Correct. And we went through just under $1,000 in less than a week, and that was only repairing approximately 40 to 100 feet of street over off of Lilac. So in the next 2 months, I would suggest a request of an additional 5,000 to 6,000.
I mean, it's really only like about 5 weeks to the new budget year. So that's for like 8 weeks, you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what are you saying? You're saying that you're approving the additional amount? I mean, is that what we're saying?
I would like to make a motion that the street department is allowed to spend an extra $6,000 in the budget year of 2019 to 2020 for asphalt and concrete.
This is Alderwoman West. Alderwoman Reed, I believe that would be in a conflict of interest. I would suggest that someone else make the motion.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, to work for the city though, it's just for the materials, not for people.
Right.
It's just for additional materials. Yes, my husband works for the street department, but I'm not purchasing something for him. This is materials for the city because I have a lot of residents that complain about their streets not being done, which I've asked continuously for about 4 months about Bella Brook and Running Brook. So if we need materials for the city, that's an ask for materials for the city. It has nothing to do with Paul Reed.
All right, thank you.
I second. Alderwoman Avant-Elliott, I second.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposers, nay. Ayes have it and so ordered.
May I have a question?
Okay. Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion that the alderman comments be eliminated and we allow the citizens to speak.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second the motion.
Any other comments?
Yes.
Alderwoman West, I did not hear the question. Would you please repeat, Alderwoman Dales?
Make a motion to eliminate the report of the alderman and allow our citizens to speak.
Okay, thank you.
You said for the question, Mayor, any amendments to the agenda needed to take place at the beginning of the agenda, and all amendments were made at the beginning of the agenda. So unless you're making another amendment to the agenda and making a motion for that, the amendment of the agenda has already taken place and we've carried that process all the way through.
I
So
can make the amendment as long as the citizens are allowed to speak.
Attorney, this is a question for you. How do we need to amend the agenda whereby the citizens would have an opportunity to participate?
Well, although the amendments were requested at the beginning of the meeting, it is certainly the board's prerogative to permit an amendment at this time to allow the citizens to speak. If that amendment passes, then the action
citizens
would
speak.
proceed as indicated.
Yep.
I would think that it would be appropriate to add them in addition to the Alderman report, because there may be questions that Aldermen have that have not been answered from previous meetings, so.
Well, I will make a suggestion that we actually pick up the phone and make that, and allow our citizens who have sat in this meeting for 3 hours to give them a voice. Let them ask the questions. They're going to ask for 3 minutes. We've been talking all during these meetings. We can pick up the phone. We can send emails. Allow our citizens who came to the meeting a chance to talk.
That's not the debate. You're now asking for Aldermen to not speak as well. There are questions that still haven't been asked.
Out of respect for the citizens who sat here and listened to this, they want to be heard. And if we have the availability to give them their voice at this time, I vote that we give it to them.
That's not what I was saying. She is also voting to eliminate us giving a report.
We've already spoke.
This is Alderwoman West. I have things under my report that I need to report. The purpose of my motion in the beginning was due to the mayor who wanted to eliminate reports.
It's a motion on the floor.
And may I finish, please? And so, for me, the reports of the treasurer and collector are more important and should take precedence.
And those reports were read.
Please, may I finish?
Those reports were read.
May I please finish? So, those reports should take precedence at this meeting.
And they were read.
Public comments. Now, at no time am I saying that they should be completely eliminated from every meeting, but it was the mayor who wanted, because of the COVID virus and because of Zoom meetings, to shorten the meetings. That is why I made the request. I know the citizens and the residents have very important things to say, but as far as I am concerned, not so much important as the monetary conditions of the city. Now, Mr. Thomas, please proceed. Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor. And it's been
all right. That the motion, who seconded it?
I seconded it.
Okay. And the motion on the floor is to eliminate all the people comments and allow the citizens to speak. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposers, nay.
Nay.
Nay. I would like to make a motion.
I didn't get all of
it. Mayor, can we have a roll call vote on that, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
I was going to call for one. All right, roll call.
Okay. Alderwoman Dales.
Yes.
Who's next to her? Avant-Elliott.
No.
Christian.
No.
Thomas.
Yes.
West.
No.
Tapman.
Yes.
Reed.
No.
And Wheezy.
Yes.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 yes and 4 no, Mayor.
Then I vote in the affirmative to let the community speak, public speak. I beg your pardon?
And thank you, Matt, for listening to the voters. I appreciate that.
Right. So we're turning the meeting over to the public, 3 minutes each. Would you, whoever want to come?
Excuse me, Mayor, this is the city
Say
clerk.
this before Ms. Lane continues.
Miss West,
This is
let me say this.
Alderwoman West. So am I to understand that the alder people will not be able to give their vote, that after the public speaks, the meeting will be adjourned?
No,
Is that correct?
No, you can still have you'll still have your opportunity to give your reports.
Mayor, that was not my motion. My motion was to eliminate the comments of the alder people and allow the citizens to speak so they can have their voice and we can end the meeting. That was my motion. And that's what it was voted for. It was 4 and 4 against. So after our voters make a comment, the meeting will be adjourned.
No, another motion can be made. So
Okay, make the other motion. You can talk to yourself.
Well, let's now hear from the citizens.
What you say, Mayor?
Let's hear from the citizens at this point.
Okay, this is the city clerk.
This
I
is
need.
Alderwoman West. Can we please limit them to 3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to say this. When I gave the ordinance number for bill number 2575, I gave the wrong number. It should be ordinance number 2569, not 2570.
And city clerk, you didn't give a ordinance, you didn't go through your little spiel for bill number 2576 neither.
I wasn't given that opportunity. Okay.
Right.
So
You were not.
the majority of, I'm sorry. The majority.
I was just laughing, I'm sorry.
The majority of the Board of Aldermen voted and passed bill number 2576, which will become ordinance number 2570. So 2575 will be ordinance number 2569, and bill number 2576 will be ordinance number 2570.
What?
Okay. They have citizens report. Citizens comment, please.
Mayor Pearson.
Yes.
This is Alderwoman Reed. Since our meeting will be adjourned after this, I'm sorry, I got a meeting to get to early in the morning. So I would like to be excused.
You may be excused.
Thank you.
All right. There are public comments. I'm waiting. Someone should say something.
Oh, let me see if I have them muted. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Unmute. Unmute. I am so sorry. I had to mute everybody because I'm unmuting everyone now.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Okay, well, since no one else has spoken, this is Felicia Gillespie and Wesley Gillespie, 619 Marshfield Drive. I'm a little worn out now, so I came to the meeting excited and overzealous to try to work as a community. But after this meeting, this is just disheartening. I'm disheartened for a number of reasons. One, because of the way our city attorney was treated, and I've never seen a city attorney in the past be scrutinized the way our current city attorney has. And she's spoken more tonight than our past city attorneys spoke in months. And so I'm going to try not to be emotional, but I'm just very disappointed in the board. But what I would like to say as a community, what I have said once before and put on the chat, as you ask us to do, Alderwoman Avant-Elliott, I put a long list of things. I would like to encourage the city to join my husband and I, who have already filed a complaint with the housing authority for the landlords who have Section 8 properties in our community, and they are not properly vetting their tenants. They have a responsibility as landlords to properly vet their tenants. We had a squatter across the street where the government was paying the landlord for his tenant to be there. The tenant had moved out, had been gone for 3 months. That particular property had 14 complaints lodged with the police department. And it's properties like that that we all as a community can come together and we can get these type of landlords and tenants out of our community so that we can have a vibrant and a community that cares about our property value and cares about the community as a whole so that we can still flourish as a productive community. That's what I would like to ask for the board, the city, any residents that are at this, that are still on the meeting after 3 hours. I don't know who's still here, but if you're still here, if you would like to join us, we can provide you with the information of the officials to get in contact with the housing authority. We can give you their email addresses and we can give you their contact information. And also, I was the one that that Chief Eiler spoke to about trying to get the citizens that have Ring doorbells, because after the shooting in May and late April, we had a shooting over in our community that was a week apart. Several citizens on our residents on our street have now installed cameras. And so if we can get, and that's, I mean, we don't have to use a platform. We can just go door to door. You can drive down the street and see who has a camera and who has a camera on the side of their house, or either just a Ring or a Vivid camera. And we can give that to the police department so that they can try to use that to assist in their investigations. I don't know if my 3 minutes up, but thank you.
Testified. Like our group of misfit women can get together, because as you know, some women are their own worst enemy.
I don't know that. I don't know what women do amongst themselves. It's a comedy drama, correct?
Who is that speaking?
Who knows?
Okay, I'm sorry, this is the city clerk. The young lady that just talked, your name is Felicia. What's your last name?
Gillespie, Gillespie.
And your address, please.
619 Marshfield Drive.
619?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is, you ready, City?
Yes.
This is Wanda Lane, 9915 Martingale. I don't know what that little blurb was, but that's could be one of the reasons why these kinds of meetings may not be secure. I don't know if it was hacked or not, or if it was a citizen. But I thank the citizen judge for her comments, and that's it. I think that the behavior of the board this evening actually sunk to a new low. I've seen it be low, but it sunk to a new low this evening. I appreciate, Mayor, and your trying to maintain your composure and all of this. I don't know, I'm going to write a letter, of course. I believe that the board of aldermen has lost their direction. I thought all the board members were equal, but it seems to be that the president of the board is the one who is directing and leading everything. And it just appears that way to me, which would certainly be a violation of the ordinance, which states that the president of the board should only be effective or take any kind of leadership would be in the absence of the mayor, and that's not what I'm seeing. So you guys gonna do what you're gonna do, but to say disappointed is just, that ain't even strong enough words. Thank you, City Clerk.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Alicia Smith, I'm sorry, Alicia Smith, 9433 Dinky Drive.
Okay, you're on.
I think Felicia, I think you took the words right out of my mouth. This has been a long, drawn-out meeting, and it seems to get worse. The decorum of the board is so poor. I thank you, Mayor, for allowing the public to speak. I thank you, Alderwoman Dales, along with the other 3 votes. You guys answer my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? And seeing none, do we have everybody unmuted?
Yes, I have unmuted everyone.
Okay then.
I have a question. May I be excused, please? I have something to do in the morning. This is Alderwoman Elise Dales.
Sure. Excuse.
Thank you.
All right. Report of the board.
Oh, no, I don't want to hear that. How do you get off of here?
Hang up.
Mayor, just thank you for allowing the reports of the board. May I make a motion to allow that back onto the agenda, please?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to make a motion for the aldermen to provide reports as needed.
Alderwoman West, I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
No, Mayor?
Yes.
Aye. Oh.
Somebody call me.
Alderwoman
I did. I'm
Pat-
sorry. I'm gonna have to leave as well.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. Report of the.
No.
Thomas, no.
Okay, wait a minute. Christian, no. Thomas, no. And any other?
How many?
There are only people here is Christian, Wheezy, Christian, Thomas. Is Barbara West still here?
Yes, I am.
And Barbara West. So it's 4
That's it.
people.
That's 4. Okay.
If there's only 4, we don't have quorum anymore.
Don't have a
Right.
quorum.
We won't be voting on anything except that we can't even adjourn the meeting then, if that was the case. So.
Go ahead on, make your report.
I'm not staying on here all night.
Right. Okay.
Go ahead and call the roll, my dear. Call who's here.
Okay. Alderwoman West.
Present.
Tapman. Reed.
Well,
Weezy.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes, I'm here.
Christian.
Oh, we voting you we're here, or are we voting for this motion?
Right. I mean, I didn't mean call the roll. I mean, just call all the people for their report.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes, I did have an inquiry, Mayor. Can you give a little bit of information about the event on tomorrow? I did talk to the pastor and he indicated that the flyer that was published wasn't the updated one, but he was going to send something to Fran. So could you share a little bit about the event tomorrow? And I did have an inquiry about whether or not a MOA had to be established with Influence Church like we were doing with the COVID testing, because the board hasn't gotten details since the last time. And I do appreciate how Alderwoman Tapman had asked for a motion for it, so then it could be something board approved. But you know, we never got any additional information about the event to make sure that, you know, it was in compliance or whatever the logistics were. So do you have any information about that?
Well, Alderman Dales was handling that, and she's left, so
Okay.
I didn't get that involved in it. I knew it was supposed to take place, the food giveaway.
Okay. Okay, so maybe that can be a follow-up. So yeah, so I do understand it will take place tomorrow, but we just don't have any additional details about that. I know that we didn't get a chance to finish the budget discussions, Mayor. Or there have all of the directors or whoever submitted their budget requests, like their recommendations for the budget? What's our status?
Fran, have the departments submitted their budgets yet?
No one has given me anything.
I was not aware. No.
So Chief might be the only one so far. So I know we don't have a quorum, but I know in the past we have not had some type of public opportunity for them to engage in questioning of the budget process. Is that something that we can potentially consider doing? I know we're not taking a vote, but I'm just wondering if that could be some type of option to allow the public to ask questions about the budget before we go through the approval process.
Are you talking about the strategic planning?
No, I'm talking about a meeting, whether it's pre-meeting, like an opportunity for the budget, proposed budget to be presented to the public and they engage in questions about it.
When we get the budget from the departments, then sure, we will
Okay,
public.
we can facilitate that. Okay, and I just wanted to make a point of clarification. The city work related to city management is not something that is any of the board's responsibility, and that is not something that I engage in any city work. So I am in my lane with whatever I do as an alderperson, for clarification of the statement about my role as a president of the Alderman board. So I do want to clarify that, and I will attempt to be at the event tomorrow, and any additional information I will clarify. We are at 60-something% on the census, and we do need to continue to push our residents to complete that census so we can move forward. So that concludes my report. They can move on to the next person, because I can leave everything until we get to the budget discussions.
Alderman Thomas.
Yeah, this is Alderman Thomas. With what we're going through this pandemic, I think a lot of people are sick and they don't know. I applaud Alderperson Tapman for spearheading us getting a testing site on our grounds at the rec center, and I hope that we can do more so that we can find out how far this disease is treading into our community. I look forward to working with the chief and the citizens even more to curtail some of this violence that is uprising in our community. And that's it.
Okay. Alderman Weezy.
I'll forego what I was going to say in the interest of time, but I will make this comment. This whole getting rid of that open to the public, I mean, I thought we were going to do the beginning one, not both. I mean, we should never not listen to the citizens, for God's sake. I mean, they're us. So that's just my opinion, sorry. Go on, I'm done.
Okay, Alderman Christian.
No report.
And Alderwoman West.
Okay, I will try to be brief. First of all, when I made that motion, it was simply because I was replacing the reports of the treasurer and the collector for the comments from the citizens. I know that their voices are extremely important, but because of what the mayor said, I was trying to condense it as well, but I felt that the treasurer and the collector's report were more important or should take precedence over what the citizens had to say, especially because they could write their comments down. So that being said, I want to say I submitted an ordinance last year through our previous attorney regarding a criminal nuisance law, which was to include more accountability from landlords. Our new attorney, Mrs. White Coleman, will be continuing in that effort. Also, Alderman Weesey and Mr. Barrett is working in collaboration with me on this ordinance. Additionally, I met with Chief Eiler on Monday regarding the problems with residents playing basketball and spoke with Attorney White Coleman regarding amending our present ordinance to include, and I quote, sports-related activities will be limited between the hours of 9 a.m. and dusk. Alderman Weesey is adding amendments via the attorney as well. Also, I wanted to say about a year ago, maybe a little shorter, I spoke to Mayor Pearson regarding Section 8 housing. At a conference that I had attended, I spoke with a city manager from, I believe it was Dalewood. That city manager said that homes could be limited, Section 8 homes could be limited in Bellefontaine neighbors. However, the mayor would be the only person who could make the request. I passed this information on to Mayor Pearson, but unaware if he acted on the information or if it slipped his mind. So, Mayor Pearson, this is a reminder to you, if you can, to call St. Louis Housing Authority to see if we can limit the Section 8 houses in Bellefontaine neighbors that are for rent. I also want to say to you, Mayor Pearson, that the ordinance for a city administrator, and for those of you who did not attend meetings and have been appointed to the board, that this ordinance was worked on like some 3-4 years ago. And I believe that Alderwoman Avant-Elliott was only trying to establish a salary. We're not trying to replace Mayor Pearson, as far as I know, at this point. And I think we are all aware of the financial situation we're going to be in. I appreciate the residents who called in. Some of them have not included me in what's going on in Ward 1, but I believe they've included Alderwoman Tapman, which is their choice. And I can appreciate that as long as somebody is working on this. So that concludes my report, and I appreciate all of you.
Mayor, can I cut in for a second?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank Alderwoman West. Last couple months, there have been several nonprofit organizations that support law enforcement that have been providing us meals, and Alderwoman West has been involved in that as well. She has provided the police department meals, and I wanted to publicly thank her for doing that.
All right.
Thank you, Chief.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, is there anyone else? Are there any other board members who have not spoken that are still on the line?
No, we went through all of them that's still here.
Thank you. Well, then let me thank the public for their patience and for hanging in there. A lot of you are still on. Thank you so much, and hopefully we can get better in the future and do things that benefit this city and not ourselves. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:59 p.m.
I'll second.
It's moved and properly second that we adjourn the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposers nay. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night. Fran, there is ability to save the chat. And so I don't know if you know how to do that, but I'll forward you the chat in case there are some questions that were not answered, and maybe we can have a Q&A posted on the website.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. I'm ending.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.